Greetings. It is Tuesday, September 26th, 2023, and this is the Aurelian Column, a special report, and my name is Thomas Caldwell. First, my apologies to my listeners that the Monday morning report could not go out on Monday morning. There were a lot of factors that came into play, including different locations. I won't bore you with the details, but I'll try not to let that happen again. The reason I'm doing this special report is there are things that need to be reported that I wanted to do yesterday but have to do today. Let's get into it here. First off, the impending federal government shutdown, or what appears to be the federal government shutdown. As you know, I do live pretty much close to Dante's other circle of hell, known as the Beltway, that surrounds Washington, D.C. Now, let me give you some information here. This is what we call a kabuki play. It's something that's a drama. The U.S. federal government, boys and girls, does not really shut down. Believe me, the U.S. military is not going to ground all of its aircraft. It's not going to send all of its soldiers out back home on furlough. And it's not going to send all of its nuclear ballistic missile submarines and aircraft carriers into home port and send all the sailors home. There will be some disruptions, though, with people's salaries, but they'll get the money back as soon as the government decides to start functioning again. This is political brinksmanship. It happens every few years. There's all sorts of horse trading being done behind the scenes. The big inconvenience is people that want to use federal facilities like national parks, or if you come to the D.C. area, the Smithsonian, which everyone wants to go to. Now, in that regard, a little bit of advice for those of you who've been planning that once-in-a-lifetime or once-every-few-year trip to our nation's capital. If the Smithsonian is shut down, which was what will happen, I recommend going to Mount Vernon, or some of the other presidential homes. Mount Vernon is very close to D.C., and it's run by a private organization that I must say does a lot better at running things than your typical federally funded and managed location. If you do go there, I also recommend the Mount Vernon Inn, which has great traditional American food. And there's some other places to go nearby. Monticello is another such place. That's a bit further away. But if you're in the D.C. area, the government's shut down, there's nothing much to do, try Mount Vernon. I think it's a great place for all Americans to go on a pilgrimage, especially during difficult times that we currently find ourselves in. Okay, the next thing is a story that is bizarre, so bizarre, in fact, that the mainstream media is calling it bizarre. And that's about the wayward F-35 fighter plane that crashed in South Carolina, and the Air Force had a hard time finding it, even though the pilot had punched out or ejected, supposedly only 1,000 feet above the ground. And when the Air Force starts asking the general public to find a crashed plane, that really doesn't make much sense. Crashed airplanes tend to make a lot of fire and smoke, especially if they're something like a fighter plane. And they did eventually find it, at least that's what we're being told. How come they couldn't find it? Stories that the transponder was turned off. Why would they do that? Well, this could just be another weird mystery, but definitely something strange was going on there. The F-35 fighter plane program, I believe at last count, was $1.7 trillion in total. The planes are only 55% ready at any given time. This is the boondoggle of all federal boondoggles. So there's something strange going on with this plane, the people running it. But I would recommend following this story. It probably will just fade away like many others. But again, this is another reason to contact your senator or your congressman, preferably with a letter asking them to investigate this. It puts a lot of pressure. Not necessarily they're going to do anything about it, but they'll put some pressure on... It's good to put some pressure on the people in power. Speaking of which, Maui, the fires in Maui that have, this is not something I gleaned off the internet, but I have been in touch with some people who are with organizations that are actively trying to help things on Maui. And there are many disturbing reports of children that are missing. including one I was told about a bus loaded with kids that were supposed to be evacuated that seems to have vanished. What's going on there does not seem in any way, shape, or form healthy, even if you can consider a wildfire of that kind healthy at all. But there's something very nefarious going on. The mayor, I think he's called a mayor, but he's the head of Maui County, which is the island of Maui, has not been talking to the media or anybody for weeks now. And where he's gone and why he's not talking to anybody is just, well, another strange mystery about that. I would urge people in the strongest possible terms to really shake the tree over this Maui thing. There's something very bad going on there, or has gone on there, might still be going on there. And as I mentioned with the Gonzalo Lira case, which is still unresolved at this point, contact your senator. And when you contact members of Congress, senators or congressmen, do so very formally and ask that they conduct an investigation and find out what's going on. Put it on the record that they were requested to do that, and hold on to the paper letter that comes. That's something that will keep them interested. Now, the last story here is something for people to watch. You've been seeing some of this on the news. Target is closing stores. There's a massive epidemic. An epidemic is the word to use, of shoplifting in the United States. So many places, big cities, have decriminalized it, especially in California. Not a big surprise there, of course, that stores can't really keep stuff on the shelves. They can't arrest people. They can't prosecute people. You literally have the lowest dregs of society and civilization just walking into retailers and just grabbing stuff off the shelves and walking away. Anybody who knows anything about the security business means that security officers are only going to observe and report what's going on. They're not going to stop anybody. Almost never happens unless they're armed security, and most places are not going to have armed security. So you can go on in and you can just thumb your nose at the security guard while you clear the shelves off of maybe a few $100s worth of stuff. And all the bad guys know this. This is not helping anything, but this is going to basically shut down a lot of retail operations in this country. In many places, you've heard of food deserts in places where there's so much shoplifting or so much crime and so much robbery that people just don't want to open businesses anymore, and you can't buy food there. You're going to find deserts where you can't find anything at the retail level. It's almost by design, isn't it, just to create chaos. If you tell people they can steal and they can't be prosecuted, okay, what do you expect to happen? On that positive note, again, this has been a special report because the Monday morning report wasn't available. If you do like what you hear, please like and subscribe, tell your friends, and please consider a paid subscription. It will give me more time to do this, which is what I really love doing. And please stay tuned for additional audio reports. I do have a few things being planned and a couple of other written essays you'll be seeing soon. And that's it for today. Be good, stay safe, and good day.